in London. He was stuck in the fog. He was trying to get to his destination. He didn't know how to get there. A young man appeared out of the fog and asked if he could help. The young man helped William Boyce to find his destination. When he got to that destination, he turned to tip the boy, and he said, "No thanks, sir. It's my good turn for the day. I'm a scout." "A what?" "I'm a scout." It was from there that he picked up, talking with this young man, what does it mean to be a scout? He actually, before he left London, took the time to go find Lord Robert Baden-Powell, the founder of Scouting for Boys. And I'm not going to go all the way back to his part, because I've got to get us back to the United States pretty quickly. I only have a few minutes. On February the 8th, 1910, William Boyce, having brought back this incredible program for young men to the United States, chartered. Now, some of you don't know this, but he actually tried to organize the Boy Scouts of America. That's my one and only joke for the day. As you can see, that didn't work, so he went ahead and made it the Boy Scouts of America. And in 1910, we started this great program. It was organized by groups of citizens who thought, well, we'd like to have a troop in our town. The first evidence of scouting, and I know you're from 3 different states, but I've got to go all the way back to Raleigh. There was a Boy Scout troop that we have records of that was chartered in 1912. And there may have been some before that. There's also folks that will tell me that scouting was in Pinehurst before it was in Raleigh. So, anyway, the origins go back to the very beginning for us. Now, in Salt Lake City, the Young Men's Mutual Improvement Association, and under the leadership of Dennis F. Wells and the direction of Brigham Young, studied the Boy Scouts of America starting in 1911. And then in May of 1913, having traveled to New York City, where the Boy Scouts were originally housed, and meeting with the leadership of the Boy Scouts of America, the first institutional sponsorship was granted to the LDS Church, the very first one. So when you talk about making changes in the Boy Scouts of America, the first thing that happened is the national leadership of the Boy Scouts realized this is a great idea. If we can find institutions and organizations who are willing to accept our program, we're going to get out of the unit business. And they did. The Boy Scouts of America do not own a single scouting unit. They're chartered to institutions, organizations. Most of them in our world are faith-based. Number one in the country, and you heard the statistics a few minutes ago, is the LDS Church. So really, to talk about the relationship of the LDS Church and scouting, you go back to the beginning, the very beginning of the Boy Scouts of America. Now, the Boy Scouts were chartered in 1916, just to give you a few dates. In 1916, we were chartered by Congress. In other words, after the relationship was already signed with the LDS Church, we received a charter from the U.S. Congress as an educational institution. And that makes us different than virtually any other youth program in the world today. Our charter is about education. It's about bringing values, character, team building, leadership, the things that you've been talking about today into the lives of the young men. A lot of youth programs exist, but most of those carry some sort of a recreational license, if you would. And if they have a charter from Congress, it's in that slant. So the Boy Scouts have that educational charter. Now, the charter, as I told you, we don't own any units. We sell those units. We partner those units out to the leadership, in this case, of the LDS Church. And the church then agrees to this podium was in our office when I first came to Raleigh. And for those of us who need, what did you call these? Cheaters? It's just far enough away they don't work. I just have to pick it up here. The individual, and in our case with the, I guess primarily would be the wards, become the owner of that particular scouting troop, and I've noticed you've all got the troop numbers on, so you know what unit you're involved in. But the charter organization representative becomes a key in that relationship between the church and the local council. And that charter organization rep in fact, on page 14, I just noticed actually in the show you handed out today, is a member of the bishopric. So it's a counselor in the bishopric that becomes a COR. And the chartered organization representative is a member that you've assigned to the members at large of, in our case, the OPDT Council, or your local council. They're a voting part of that governing body, and if you have that title today, that chartered organization rep title today, be aware that at least annually, there's a meeting that we need you to come to because it approves our officers and sets the agenda for the council for the coming year, and that's in every Boy Scout council, not just ours, so they meet at least annually. So the charter organization representative is a real key in that relationship between the church and the Boy Scouts of America. And that person is responsible for, and you've heard kind of the tie together, the responsibility of making sure that that troop, that pack, that team, or that crew is successful in your home ward. I'm also watching the clock. Now, the Boy Scout Council, and every council is exactly the same because we're chartered by the national organization. In fact, I love to do, and I just learned this from a friend of mine who was actually in this council many, many years ago, that one of the scout executives here started telling the story of another triangle. And he would do this with his hand, the triangle. And he talks about the national organization and how the organization is formed. And then the local council, which receives, now Congress has chartered the Boy Scouts of America, the Boy Scouts of America charters the OPDT Council or your home council, and our responsibility is that we work with you, and the very first thing that we have in our agreement with you is to respect the aims and objectives of the organization and offer the resources to help you be successful with your program. And that's where, as you flash that last slide up, President Dickerson, it is absolutely true that you're the dog and we're the tail. And we need to remember that because you own and operate that program, and we're here to support you with that program. We want to help you by providing training and support any way that we can. We do that primarily through volunteers, and well, I'm going to let Susan Long come up and talk for just a minute, but we provide training and opportunities. We provide facilities. Some not so large as this place, but we're very proud of what we've got here and try to provide the camping and program opportunity that you need as an organization to be successful with your scouts. Now, let me start with that triangle again because I like to start this way, and there's been some graphs that have been built this way. So we have the national organization, and then that national organization charters the local council, and then the local council charters the units of that council. So you all have received a legal document that says you are able to operate the programs of Boy Scouts of America within your church. Now, those are the only three entities that receive that legal document. So it kind of builds from this triangle of the organization, then the local council, then the unit. Now, in between there, we've added a step, and that is the Boy Scout district. Hopefully you're all aware that you're a member of a scouting district in your community. In the OPDT Council, we have 12 districts, and they cover the 12 counties. Now, that's divided up specifically by the county, but it's at that district level that we ask for a little help. And Susan, if you'll go ahead and make your way up here. The district has a primary function of serving as the community liaison for the local council. We're 12 counties large, and there's councils that have way more counties. I know there's folks from the East Carolina Council. I think they're 26 counties large. And as a council, we're never going to get out and provide the service that we need to the volunteers that serve in the unit level. However, in the district, and that's a committee of administration that helps us support, and in the commissioner's staff, which I've seen several times in your literature, is where we have and need some help. Susan, I want to kind of put this in the middle as a pitch for how you may be able to help us in a volunteer way.